Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told out of Voice of Radio. So today, we need to take a look at those secret rare cards from the 100 start decks. And we need to have a look at exactly how valuable, how sought after, how expensive, etc. they actually are. Because frankly, I didn't see these coming. And I don't think most of you saw this coming either. And we don't know exactly how rare they are. It seems to be there is kind of a deck which has each of the secret rares in, plus that god deck I showed you the other day, but it's all a little bit up in the air. So take these prices with a pinch of salt. And we don't know exactly where or even if we're going to be getting these cards at all, although I do think it is fair to say that the new cards, and most of these are new cards, not including the gold birds, we'll get there in a minute, they're going to be in Brilliant Stars, so it's very likely that most, if not all of these will be in Brilliant Stars, although we cannot say for certain. And it's early, and the prices are likely to fluctuate, etc., so pinch of salt, but it's still nice to take a little bit of a look. Now, what is really nice, we often look at buy prices, and we are going to look at some buy prices in a moment, but I have managed to find a store over in Japan that is actually showing us how much they are selling a bunch of these cards for. Now, before we actually get to the cards we were planning on looking at, I do just want to have a quick look at CYRUS here. Of course, Boss's Orders CYRUS is a new card, coming in the 100 start decks, and it is just a reprint of Boss's Orders, only because we've gone full Gen 4 at the moment, it's featuring CYRUS rather than Giovanni or Lysander. And this is kind of cool. And is currently being sold for 2,490 yen. This is the mirror hollow version of it. And look, I know that this is not exactly a huge amount of money, but it's not nothing. 2,490 yen, you're talking about £16.50 or $22. That's quite a lot. And it's because it's a new version of Boss's Orders, and it's because it's all foiled and all of that. And weirdly enough, this is actually selling for as much as, or more than, some of the secret rares. So that is a little bit surprising to me. I mean, it's Boss's Orders. If you want to play Boss's Orders, we've got other options. But the fact that it's mirror and apparently not showing up in enough decks, selling for quite a bit of money. Now, the one that nobody really wants, and I'm sorry, this is probably one you all saw coming, Barry. No, nobody wants Barry, I'm afraid, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, the card, it's your classic rival card in a TCG. We've seen it coming around for years and years and years. And the fact of the matter is, it's a draw-free. And nobody really cares about a draw-free, ladies and gentlemen. Like, I don't mean to be mean about this, but nobody really cares. It's not something people are getting particularly excited about. It's being sold for 790 yen. Which is, well, that's not very much, frankly. 790 yen, you're talking about £5 or around about $7. Which for a full art support is kind of cool. I'd buy it for a fiver. But Barry's not hugely popular. The card is pretty generic and unplayable. So, yeah, it was never really going to be up there. Now, the big hitter, of course, the big hitter is Marnie. And it's not regular Marnie, and I did try and say this last time, but make this perfectly clear. This is Marnie's Pride. So it is a different card to the full art Marnie from Sword and Shield. It is not a draw supporter. It's not like the old one. This is one that lets you accelerate energy. And it's not like the one from the Marnie Premium Tournament Collection. Those are both Marnie. This is Marnie's Pride. It's a different card. But it's still Marnie at the end of the day. It is still a card featuring Marnie. It's still a full art. It's still extremely rare. This was always going to be, by a huge margin, the chase card from the 100 start decks. And that is exactly how it's ended up being. This is by far the most sought after card. And it's selling for 32,990 yen, which comes in as £220 or $290. Yeah, that's a very expensive card. And the thing is, there's no guarantee that this suddenly becomes cheap in the future. When the Japanese equivalent of Shining Fates came out, Shiny Star V, everybody thought the chase card was going to be Charizard. And I pulled a Charizard from my box, with which lovely Antoine Boulet hooked me up, and I was very, very happy indeed. And I still am, incidentally. That is still one of my favourite cards in my entire collection. But you want to know what the most sought after, most expensive card from that set ended up being by quite a wide margin? It was Full Art Marnie. The same one, incidentally, that has since come in the Marnie Premium Tournament collection. And this is Marnie. This is what happens. And if I might be so bold, it's going to keep happening. Marnie cards are going to remain very popular. Don't think it's a coincidence we get so many Marnie cards compared to other characters from Generation 8. This is simple business. Pokemon have realised that there is one character from Sword and Shield who is far more popular than others and is likely to drive sales more than others. It's Marnie. Marnie's Pride could have featured any other character. There's nothing about the effect of that card, accelerating energy from the discard, which screams Marnie. Barry had to be Barry because it's a rival card, and the rival draws free. So if you want a new card that draws free, it has to be the rival. That's how it works. CYRUS had to be Boss's Orders because Boss's Orders is the antagonist from the game. That's how it works. But a generic accelerate energy from the discard supporter, that could have been Marnie, but that could have been anyone. Why is it Marnie? Because now Pokemon get to have another Full Art Marnie card. Now, I don't know this for certain. There could be other things behind the scenes. I don't work for the Pokemon Company. I know business pretty well. All I can do is give you my best analysis of the information we've got. But the fact of the matter is, Marnie is super popular, and you've now got a whole bunch of people going out and buying these decks in the hope of grabbing that Full Art Marnie, which means it's kind of done what it should do. Now, looking at the gold birds, there is a clear 1, 2, 3 in terms of value of these, and quite frankly, there should be. And if you've been paying attention at all, you'll know what the order is. Moltres is number 1, but by a bit of a margin. Moltres is double the number 2, but Moltres should be. Moltres comes in at 7,990 yen, which is around about £53 or $70. It's quite expensive. But Moltres is a phenomenal card. It's got that ability that attaches Darkness energy to it from the discard, and Darkness is now, at the moment, a phenomenal weakness to be hitting, which means that not only are you accelerating energy to yourself and getting you going more quickly, but you also act as a natural counter to some of the very best cards and decks in the game around at the moment. I mean, come on, ladies and gentlemen. This is a phenomenal card. This was always going to be, by a wide margin, the most expensive of the gold birds. It will be when it comes over here. Number 2 is clearly Galarian Zapdos, coming in at 3,990 yen, which incidentally is about half of Galarian Moltres. So we're talking somewhere in the region of $26.50 or $35. That's about what we're looking for here. And Articuno is not on the level of Moltres, let's not pretend for a second that it is, but it is still quite interesting in terms of if your opponent plays 3 Pokemon V, including VMAX and V-Star, you can then do 170 for a single energy. Bearing in mind it also hits a good weakness, is pretty cool. Now, Galarian Articuno comes in just behind that at 2,990, so you're talking around about £20 or $26. It's cool. It lets you discard 2 cards to draw 1, and then you're emptying out your hand, so other things that draw until you got a certain number of cards in hand become better. I still think Galarian Articuno is not seeing as much play as it should. I still think it's a cool card with a cool ability, but if you go looking at tournament results at the moment, there is a clear 1, 2, 3 in the case of the birds, and it is Moltres number 1, Zapdos number 2, Articuno number 3, and it is extremely clear. Now, these are the figures that were nice and easy to find. I did find somebody was putting buy prices out there, and I know these are buy prices, so that's what the shop are charging you. They will then make you pay a little bit more for it. But actually, they're not a million miles off the prices we're seeing here. Moltres is 7,000 rather than 8,000. Galarian Zapdos is 3,400 rather than 4,000, and Galarian Articuno is 2,800 rather than 2,900. Marnie is quite a lot less, I'll grant you, but it's not a million miles away, so it does work as a rough comparison, but this is a different shop and it is buy prices. Please do take that into account. But you'll notice that Pikachu V comes in at 4,000 yen, which is interesting because, well, it's not a great card, but it is a Pikachu. It's a new Pikachu V. It's fine, but it's nothing hugely stunning or amazing. But the fact of the matter is, it's a new Pikachu and it's a full art thereof, and this was always going to end up being a pretty expensive card. I mean, it's coming in there at 4,000 yen, which is basically above Galarian Zapdos, and puts it as the third most valuable of the secret rares, behind Marnie and Galarian Moltres, which I find very interesting. We've then got the new Zamazenta coming in at 1,200 yen. This is the one with the really cool ability, lets you discard your hand and draw 5 cards, though it does end your turn. But then again, you know, we've seen these before, that's fine. And 1,200 yen really brings it in less than half of Galarian Articuno, so it really is quite a bit below all the other cards we've looked at here. I do, however, just want to give a little bit of a shout out to Entei and Raikou. Now, these are new cards. They are, incidentally, exactly the same as Suicune. I mean, as far as they can be, right? The HP is slightly different, the retreat cost is slightly different, they are different typings, and the coloured energy in their cost is different, but they've got the same attack and they've got the same ability, and they are, to all intents and purposes, the same card. And these are really cool, and they're new, and remember that Suicune is one of the best cards in the game right now, so these were always going to be very, very sought after cards, and they are. Now, you'll notice there are 2 different versions there, foil and non-foil, I believe, and that the foil is a lot more expensive than the other. They are both costing about the same, Raikou ever so slightly higher, but then again, lightning is a better weakness to be hitting right now. But they're actually coming in terms of prices, the only things that are beating these are Galarian Moltres, Galarian Zapdos, and Marnie. These are actually coming in higher, or at least in line with, Galarian Articuno, which I find very interesting indeed. So although the secret rares are kind of expensive, don't sleep on Entei and Raikou. They're new cards, they're only in the 100 start deck, and they are already attracting a fair price. These cards, I feel extremely confident, are just going to be in Brilliant Stars, so that's going to be a lot easier to actually go ahead and pick up. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen. 2 cards really are above all the others. There's your Marnie and your Galarian Moltres. You've then got Pikachu, Galarian Zapdos below that, and then you've got the dogs and the last bird bringing up the rear. So now it's over to you guys. Does any of this surprise you? Do any of these cards make you very happy? Are these the kind of things you're going to be looking to pick up? Let me know in the comment section, would you? Go nuts! Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCG Radio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that good stuff, head on over to patreon.com/PTCG Radio, or you can do exactly that. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.